Hello and welcome to the On Pointless Podcast. I'm your host, Curt. Tonight's intro question is, if you were to pull an all-nighter, what's the activity that you are the most likely to have been doing? Stefan?
Okay, so there's almost a 0% chance of me pulling an all-nighter. I'm no longer physically capable of doing so. I expect it was around like 30 when this happened. Anyways, that's beside the point. It would probably be something related to scrambling last minute to get something done for school. And it has always been that.
And Tron?
Anywhere before like 4 months ago, I would have probably said playing video games mindlessly, but now it would probably be taking care of my son.
Yeah, but you got the wife for shifts. See, it's not technically an all-nighter.
She's been taking care of him all day. I got it at night.
Fair enough. You gotta rework that deal, man.
I don't mind.
This is a good time to announce we have 50% parents on this podcast tonight. First time ever. Wow. Alex?
At this point, I would probably be writing a grant because I have to do that coming up, and I've been postponing for like 2 months. So I foresee a all-nighter coming up.
And for me, the last all-nighter I can remember pulling, I was playing poker. So I don't play a lot of poker now, but I could see that being a thing I would be willing to stay up all night to do. So maybe that, but I haven't pulled an all-nighter in like 15 years.
Oh man, I used to pull them all the time though. I used to stay up till like 7 a.m. to watch Saved by the Bell reruns. I didn't even like the show. It's so true.
I don't know what to say to that. We'll move on from there. Would you rather be a barber, a plumber, an electrician, or a tailor?
Electrician.
Wow, that was a fast answer on that.
Yeah, I went to school to be an electrician, so...
But you're not an electrician.
Yeah, I decided I didn't really like running wires and stuff, but after doing other jobs, I think I could go back to it, and I think I would appreciate it more. You could actually, like, use your hands and you use your brain a little bit. You're not just mindless labor.
Shocking.
I would take barber. If you get fast at it, you can make pretty good money, which is always nice. You get probably some interesting stories from people because you see a lot of people during a day and stuff like that. I think barber would be fun.
Okay.
Plus, I think it would leave you a little bit of creativity that you could use.
I will say I'd most like to be friends with a barber. Oh, that's not true. Actually, I'd like to be friends with an electrician and a plumber as far as them doing work at my house. But I mean, I feel like I'd like to hang out with a barber the most because they always have stories. And you can, like, barbers are good at talking to people.
Yeah, okay. That's exactly why I could never be a barber. Now, okay, let's break down the other options. Barber's out of the question for me. Plumber, electrician, both monetarily very nice. What was the other option?
A tailor.
A tailor? Just who's gonna pick that?
I am. I would love to be a tailor. I think it'd be super fun because that's one where I can be the most creative and just like, Curt is making outfits. I could make costumes. I could have a tailor shop that was all about just like Halloween and dress party costumes, and I could do all sorts of weird stuff.
The assumption is, though, that you have to support yourself, whatever this is.
100% tailor was my second option.
Okay, interesting. See, I was going to go with electrician because it has all the money of being a plumber with none of the poop.
That's fair.
But you can be a plumber without having to deal with poop.
That's true.
By
you can put up a big disclaimer: no poop jobs.
No, you just
It's a pretty standard issue contract in the plumbing industry, I think. Yeah.
like you just deal on new projects. You put in new pipelines and stuff like that.
Do you think there's sub-cliques within the plumber community?
The poop guys and non-poop guys. Like when you fill out your union card, it's like, so are you a poop or a non-pooper? Well, I'm a non-pooper. Oh, nice. Good job.
And the non-poopers look to the poopers with disdain.
Well, of course. Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's just like, these guys, pretty boys of the plumbing industry, the poopers are where it's at.
They're in it for the money. Some of us love the work.
I can see it. Because, for me...
So, I'd be an electrician.
An electrician. So we've got two electricians, a barber, and a tailor. No one would pick a plumber. For me, when I was looking at this, tailor was my first option, barber was my second, plumber was my third. I would not want to be an electrician.
Okay, now, you have to be assuming you have some kind of skill at this job, because, no offense, you wear terrible clothes. I cannot imagine you being a good tailor.
But I've never squeezed on a tube of caulking in my life, and I sell a ton of that. I think I can get good at a thing.
Yeah, but you don't actively go around utilizing terrible caulking. Like you
True.
do going around wearing felt clothes and lime green tracksuits.
Good point, but I think I can figure it out. I think if you put me in anything, I can figure it out. I feel like any job, if you give me time, I'll be okay at. So if you let me be a tailor for a while and my creativity came through, I could come through with the On Pointless clothing line. It would be fantastic.
No doubt about it.
I feel like a lot of tailors get into the game for the creative aspects, but I think it's really just a soul-crushing, hole-fixing game.
Yeah, it's, you measure up, you flop over, measure up.
You hear that ding-a-ling, you're like, a custom costume? Nope, another button.
But you could not just do that. You could make yourself one of those people that makes custom clothing. You don't have to pigeonhole yourself by just being a person that fixes old ratty clothes.
Oh, right, I forgot this was a fantasy.
Well, I mean, if you get to be a non-poop plumber, then yeah, it's a fantasy. And let's be honest, there's already a tailor shop in Victoria called Curt's Custom Tailoring. I'm set.
All you have to do is buy it.
Or murder the other Curt.
I would assume that because the name is taken, that would be a strike against you. You don't just assume ownership.
I'm pretty sure I own everything that has my name on it. You need to come up with a system of measuring weight based off an existing thing. What do you choose?
Squirrels.
Okay, well, yeah, throwback.
Call that the last podcast, of course. That's kind of where this question came from.
Yeah. You understand there is a physical object that represents a pound.
For
and
sure.
It's very closely guarded.
Oh, I know. And they have to make sure because, there's something about the atomic weight of it.
decay, yeah.
Yeah, so it slightly changes, so they have to make sure that a pound
I'm
is...
pretty sure that actually changes the measurements of the weight of everything in the world slowly.
Yeah.
I think that's how it works. They don't recalibrate ever.
I'm pretty sure they have, there's just 16 exact examples of it, and they're all kept in vault, and they're extremely expensive, and, it's a specialized thing. But that's where I'm thinking, not as much with the object that's a pound, but, most of the imperial system came from units of measurement. A foot was the king's foot, a yard, 3 feet. But they're human-based measurements for the most part.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Those are all clearly dumb.
But going with that same scale, because some countries are still on the imperial system, one country, what could we use for a pound? But not that it's a pound weight. Just what could we measure weight in?
Is the goal to just pick something fun or to pick something that will give you, a consistent... grab one of these things I have it lying around, and it's always going to be roughly the same weight as another one of these same things.
So it's got to be plentiful, so that, you always have one handy.
Yeah, okay.
I've got it. You don't always have one handy, but you do always have... Well, not the specific thing. You always have your cell phone handy, right?
Yep.
How much does a Zach Morris brick cell phone weigh? I think our new weight of measurement is brick cell phone.
And you could call it cells.
Exactly.
That weighs 6 cells.
6 cells, 20 cells.
Cells is already taking you guys. It's
Not by anything.
Yeah, but so is tons. There's 10 different things that ton means.
You just spell it a different way. You throw in an extra L, so there's 3 for some reason in there.
Well, it's Zach Morris' cell phone, so Zells. Z-E-L-L.
Can we call them...
Silence
Why don't we
it,
just
though.
call them Zacks?
Zacks? Ooh, I kind of like that too.
It's not bad, actually.
Oh man, I lost 6 Zacks last week.
Yeah.
6 Zacks? That's actually a lot of Zacks.
Well, yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
How much does that phone weigh? Pound and
I
a half?
think it weighed roughly a pound.
Okay, so we're going to keep it around a consistent size. We've decided a pound is good, but we just measure it in...
You don't want to mess everything up.
Yeah, I guess you don't want to mess everything
Because
up.
you can't really measure anything in a bag of flour or something like that. That just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You can't measure anything by, say, babies or squirrels or any type of animal because they vary in size.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something that we've made previously that weighs way too much to be walking around with on a normal basis.
Unless you're Zach Morris.
Unless you're Zach Morris.
Okay.
Coming in at 186 Zacks.
Sounds pretty badass to announce a fight like that.
Yeah. That'd be pretty funny if you could pick your own unit of measurement when you were coming in for a boxing match or a fight. He's like, well, this guy's 15 bags of flour. Yeah, well, this guy's 0.75 Evander Holyfield. Oh, man.
Yeah.
This guy's 1/16 of a car.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you pick the bigger thing to be measured against?
You're a guy named Freight Train, but you have to be like, I'm 1/18,000th of a freight train.
Yeah. Or do you pick something like squirrels, where he's 227 squirrels?
Oh,
yeah.
you definitely go high.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
Oh
you
my
pick
God.
the higher number with the lower weight thing.
Well, because I feel like I could beat up like 1/18,000th of a freight train easier than I could fight
18 million
180
styrofoam
squirrels. Like,
Yeah,
1 billion feathers.
just feathers. Everything's just so much. You could really just up the scale. It would be like how casinos do it. You'd just be like, oh yeah, this poker tournament we were playing for 1 million chips. You'd be
Yeah.
like, yeah, I weigh 1 million feathers.
Yeah.
1,780 billion grains of sand.
Just grains of sand. Look, we're going to take it down to the smallest unit possible, so
Yeah.
a grain of sand.
Everything is completely outrageous and unnecessary.
You could measure people in pennies.
Pennies would be a good thing.
Pennies.
I was thinking that because like usually you have some lying around because they're worthless.
I don't believe they're that consistent, though.
They're
There are
actually
varying levels of grime. And probably from year to year, they also weigh a little bit different.
yeah.
I like the ones that turn get that aqua film on it. You know?
Yeah, they
yeah.
oxidize.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And then you throw them in a glass of Coke, and you clean them, and you get an A+ on your 6th grade science project.
That's true. Coke is a cleaning solvent.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like me.
There's a lot of events in the Olympics, and there's a lot that would be very glorious and great. But which one would you personally least want to do?
Any long marathon running.
Yeah, like decathlon. Is
That's
that...
really good. Yeah.
Decathlon.
Wait, is decathlon the one with a bunch of events?
Decathlon has like 10 events. I think
That
the
one
longest,
I would like to do.
the longest running event in the decathlon, I think, is just a 1,500 meter. There might be a 3,000 meter, but it's not too bad. There's no marathon in the decathlon.
Yeah, whatever the longest running. I'm with
Yeah, because what's is there anything that's like 10 kilometers or anything like that?
Well, there's a marathon, which is 26 miles.
26 miles? Yeah, I'm not doing that.
See, I would do that before I did a high dive. I would be so afraid to do that high dive into a pool, and if you screw that
High dives
up...
are awesome.
I'm just going straight down, nothing fancy.
Okay,
I agree with that.
I'm going to assume you're competing in the Olympics. So you're not just doing the thing on the side. Like,
You know,
you've got all the pomp and circumstance of it, and
A lot of those people
You're-
have to hold down, solid 9 to 5s.
yeah, I feel like diving would be one in which you would bring less shame to your country
I guess
than
so.
in many of the other contests. It's all about minimizing shame, I feel, this question.
Here comes Stefan up to the board, weighing in at 160 zacks. Let's watch his high dive. And cannonball.
You don't cannonball the high dive
I didn't realize
unless
it.
you want a free enema.
I didn't realize it, but you could actually tell he's screaming underwater.
Like, all you have to do is just jump straight down and just be a pin, try and make a small splash, and you'll beat anyone who biffs it.
But okay,
Not last.
but how about boxing or judo? Like,
Are you kidding me? That's the absolute worst one to pick.
we're picking the worst,
We're picking the worst. We're not picking the best here.
Oh, damn.
right?
I got flipped turned upside down.
So your best was high dive?
Yeah, dude.
No, that's wrong.
The best would be like javelin or discus, like something that's like whatever. I threw the
No.
thing, I sucked at it.
You would come in last place by the least in diving, is what I'm trying to say.
If I'm going to take something that I want to be in the most, I would take the 100 meter, because I'm going to be the worst guy at the 100 meter, but I'm going to get the most screen time because the most people watch the 100 meter.
Oh.
That's true.
I'm
Well,
gonna
I
get-
mean, it's
I'm gonna get-
viewer numbers times length of race.
I'm going to get
So-
no screen. Nobody watches a 26-mile race. Nobody cares. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
If I'm talking about something that I actually would want to do the 100 meter. Boxing, yeah, sure, why not? I mean, realistically, you could take one punch and just take a knee and call it.
Yeah, I guess you're gonna get knocked out once, but
Yeah.
Oh yeah, as if you would even have the wherewithal to kneel after taking one
Well,
punch
as
from a
you're laying on the
professional
ground
boxer.
regaining consciousness,
Yeah.
You take a body shot, you just lay down, man.
yeah.
It-
Well, what about
you
like?
could just dive. Just dive.
But
take a knee. Right
Yeah.
at the start, you touch gloves or whatever.
Just make
I'm
some
done.
kind of political statement and
yeah,
You know,
one
it'll
knee,
be
fist
fine.
up, something like that. Like I'm standing up for something. I don't know
Yeah,
what,
who
but
knows?
okay.
down with punching.
So this raised an interesting thought when you were saying that. I don't know why, but it took my mind to something else. I didn't think of the Winter Olympics when I came up with this question, but you know, like the giant ski jump thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill myself if I do that. 100%. Or even like luge or skeleton.
Hold on, do you
Yeah.
have enough momentum on the slope that if you bail before you hit the ramp, you'll still go off it?
Yes,
probably.
Yeah.
100%.
You are going down like basically a vertical slope, and you're like locked into this thing for the first bit.
Yeah, there's like
Yeah.
channels on it.
Okay,
Yeah.
can we come to an agreement that whatever it is, you have to give it your all?
You gotta try. I think you gotta try.
Okay.
But still, like, man, if you're having to do that, like, because half pipe, whatever, you can bail on half pipe, it's fine. But that giant ski jump, oh man, I don't think I'm coming out of that alive.
I think we need to keep the question simple, because whenever somebody says the word Olympics, nobody thinks of the Winter Olympics first.
Fair.
Think of Summer Olympics only, streamline it, marathons are out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marathons, I don't know, marathon's still pretty bad.
I think I could do a marathon, and I would be better at it than some of the other events.
You would be holding up everyone, though.
Oh,
For
100%.
a long time.
Definitely. I would be nowhere near compete. I'd rather do the marathon than the race walk, though.
Yeah.
Racehawks one?
Race walk is a marathon, but you walk the whole thing.
You'd
Yeah.
probably just get DQ'd at some point.
Yeah, because if all it is if both of your feet are off the ground at the same time, you're allowed up to 3 fault, and once you've got caught for 3 faults on it, you're out of the race.
Do you think that people take strategic faults?
I don't know. I've watched it because it's the stupidest event.
Do you think right at the end, at the finish line, someone's like, all right, I've gotten 0 faults so far, here I go, and they just like sprint the last 3 steps. to
Three
get
steps,
ahead?
they're just bounding down the...
Yeah. Where that goes.
I don't want to just broad jump off the starting line in that.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
right away. They're like, yeah, what? I was in first for a second.
Yeah, because you would get 2 jumps in, you'd have a lead.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you take out a guy.
Just-
Yeah.
you make your third jump back at the crowd at the knees.
100%.
Hey, wait, you know what? That reminds me of an amazing story. I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but there's an Australian guy who actually won gold medal in speed skating in the Winter Olympics because everyone in front of him crashed.
Yeah, I watched that race live.
You did?
Me and Chris, who's on this podcast,
No way.
were sitting there and we were watching the Olympics, and that race came on, and it's the most glorious thing. So everyone's speed skating around this track, and Australia's never won. I think it was Australia. They've never won a
it
medal
was.
in speed skating. And on the last corner, one person slides. They took out every other person in the field in the race. They fly so hard into the foam boards on the side, and the Australia guy, who's literally a half lap behind, skates by and he looks over his shoulder like, oh my god, it's happening. And he crossed the line. Everyone else is scrambling to get up. One of them dove headfirst over the line for like the silver. And it was like they're all scrambling. And the Australian guy's like, that was my only chance. And it happened. It was like a 1 in a million. And it
The
was,
unbelievable thing is, I believe the same thing happened in the qualifiers
In the
to get him into the final.
yes, to get him into the final, people fell in the qualifiers. It wasn't nearly as drastic as the one in the finals, but it's the greatest Olympic highlight
Stephen
of all
Bradbury
time.
was the guy's name.
Is that his
Check him
name?
out.
Nice. Yeah,
Amazing.
Good for Australia.
Yeah,
Anyways,
check out
if you
that
wanted
race.
to pick the best possible thing, maybe just go with that. You could come on with the gold.
That's true. The one I was thinking of too, while you were talking about a marathon, that I would think would be worse, and I don't know if it's an Olympic event, but the triathlon, where you start off doing that big long swim, come back, you ride the bike
bike.
forever, and then you run like 15 kilometers. That's the one. I'm not a great swimmer. I can't ride a bike, and then I've got to run. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Plus, very little coverage.
Yeah, no one watches it.
Yeah.
I want to be on TV when I'm failing fantastically.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a goal.
I don't want the chance of getting the one highlight where I'm throwing my bicycle at somebody.
Which would inevitably happen.
100%.
We've combined the bike race and boxing.
Bike sing.
So continuing our ever-popular expression series, Tron has come up with an expression for us to figure out the root of. Tron?
Yes, I have. The expression we're trying to figure out is giving someone the cold shoulder.
Ooh. Giving someone the cold shoulder. Okay, so do you think back in the day, people were poor? Because everyone was poor back in the day.
This
Yeah.
is exactly where I was going. Too.
So, you only had like one sleeve? So your other
Not where I was going.
That turned very quickly, I think.
So your other arm was always really cold, right? So when someone walked in, you'd be like, stay away from my radiator and my sleeve. You get my non-sleeve arm, and you gave him the cold shoulder.
I was gonna go something more reasonable, like maybe you only have one source of warmth, like a fire.
Yeah, I was
You're
definitely on
sitting
the fire.
talking with someone. To turn the cold shoulder would be to turn away.
Oh.
Yeah, I definitely was thinking fire.
Then again, you would
Turning
have to
away
be.
would be towards the fire.
you would have to, if you have one warm shoulder, that means you're perpendicular to the fire, in which case you could turn either your warm shoulder or your cold shoulder to stop talking to this person.
I think we're going about this entirely wrong.
Okay.
I think the cold shoulder is a cooking term. And I think what it refers to is the shoulder is the worst cut of meat. And when you really didn't like somebody, you served them the worst cut of meat, which was a shoulder, and it was cold by the point you got it to them because they were the last one to get whatever kind of meat it was.
I don't care what the real answer is anymore. That's so good. That has to be it.
Shoulder is good meat. Like whenever you have pulled pork, it's usually pork shoulder.
Yeah.
Well, but not if it's a cold shoulder.
No.
You had me hook, line, and sinker.
Cold pulled pork is good.
Yeah.
Have we exhausted our ideas?
Yes, what is to give someone the cold shoulder?
You're very close with cold piece of meat. But in medieval times, it was considered a polite gesture. A nice way of telling somebody it's time to leave my house in medieval England was giving them a cold piece of the shoulder of beef, pork, or mutton.
I am very happy with how close I was. I got the
Yeah.
exact opposite intention.
Yep.
But I got a cold shoulder of meat there.
Yep.
Well done.
Yeah. Well, very well done. And cold.
You have a magic portal that takes you to a random year in human history. But once you are there, you're trapped there for a year. You've just stepped out of this portal, and it's 1850. At the end of the year, would you go back into the portal?
So I've lived 1 year in the year 1850.
Yes. But if you go back into the portal, you can be spit out anywhere in human history.
Oh, I see.
Oh.
So do you take the risk of trying to find something sooner and better than 1850 to go back somewhere else in history? Or is 1850 good enough where you're like, you know what, I'm taking this over Roman times 100%?
Here's the thing.
What's going on in 1850?
No, we're still in, like, Wild West times in the States. Like, gold mining, late 1800s.
There's a
But
lot to break down.
We're somewhat
With this question.
civilized, though. There's towns or cities, there is roads.
Are you transported to the same position? Like, will you be in the same country?
Yeah, I'm going to say you'll be in the same country. Like, you'll be in roughly the same position in society as yourself in that time.
But you go back with all your knowledge, presumably. Maybe the clothes you're wearing. I don't know.
Yeah, you'd go back with the clothes you're wearing and your knowledge. You don't get to bring your phone because that would be a little too much.
Okay.
Well, you get no reception.
Yeah.
Okay. So
No Wi-Fi.
the only way I would go into the portal would be if life in 1850 was just like so terrible. I'd rather take a small chance of getting back to kind of more present times, and then if anything else happens, it's just kind of a wash, right?
The risk of going in that portal is great, but is 1850 livable for you?
Okay.
Knowing the world as it is now.
Hold on. When does human history start in this scenario?
I'll say recorded history.
Recorded
So you
history,
could go
so
back to Egyptian times.
based on civilization, the video game clocks. The world starts at 4000 BC, so we got a good 6,000 year range
but-
in which you have to get in the best, like within the best 169 years, right?
Let's make it
In
simple.
order to do better than 1850.
Let's go back. It can go back as far as the year 0. So between the year 0 and 2000. Oh,
Jesus.
2019.
So, but would you then, a year from that, get another shot at the portal?
Yes. Every year you have a shot at the portal.
I'm going.
I see.
I'm rolling the dice each time. Then
You're
you got to
John
figure
Hopper.
you can live a year in whatever time period and survive. Probably.
Not me.
Okay.
I would die.
But
in almost
that's
any
the,
year.
if that's the case, if you were going in the portal at the end of every year, what is the year where you go, good enough, I will stay here? Like if you get to 1950, that's probably worth staying.
Yeah, I mean, does this portal come around every year, or like as soon as you skip a year, you're done, you're stuck?
It comes around every year. This is like the TV show Sliders.
Okay. Well then, yeah, in the 50s, I think I'd stay there for a few years.
I think I'd stay in the 50s as well. I think if I got in the 50s, I'd stay there forever.
Yeah.
Anything past 1900, I'd stay 100%. But I don't know if I'd risk leaving in the 1850s to go to that. At least in the 1850s, like, do I have electricity? I think I have simple electricity in 1850, don't I?
Yeah.
I mean,
You'll
know how to make a rudimentary kind of battery type thing, presumably.
Got a telegraph.
You'll have to try a few things probably before you remember what the children's science experiment is that
Yeah,
generates a
something
small
to do
amount
with
of
a,
electricity, but
something with a potato and a light bulb.
Yeah.
Here's a question that's a little bit dark. Has slavery been abolished by 1850?
No,
No.
No.
I don't think so.
okay.
That's going to be hard.
I don't think so.
I don't think, to be honest, that's the least of your worries. Everyone you know is not come back with you, you know?
It's true. You're starting a new life.
Your whole life. It's a whole new life, right?
Yep.
That's a huge negative for hopefully a lot of people.
But at this point, I'm not that attached to my 1850s life.
The thing is, you've lived
Right.
there for a year, though, so maybe you've met somebody
Yeah.
and you've got an 1850s wife.
Could you really
Right.
connect with people from the 1850s?
Well, but you could connect with them better than someone from the 1200s.
They might have more trouble connecting with you.
Yes, but like if you go through that portal again and it's like, cool, 1065. By the way, Battle of Hastings is next year. Have fun with that. You're like, oh god, I'm going to be in a medieval battle.
Yeah, but you would know where all the battles are because you read your social studies textbook.
Oh, darn. That's the point of that class.
Dang it.
That was the only point of that class.
Yeah.
But like at least in the 1850s, I feel like the 1850s are current enough that you could like grift and be smarter than people, that you could make a living and be a rich person. Whereas if you go back too far, it doesn't matter. Your modern knowledge is too far advanced for these people that it's not going to help you.
I think you're in a time period there where literally nobody lies. You are the invention of lying, right? You could literally be anything you wanted because you said you were, right? You could say you're a doctor. You could say you're a surgeon. Like, how many people died in surgery in the 1850s?
Well, and
How many people got surgeries in the 1850s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, medically speaking, you probably are the world's foremost expert on the human body.
100%.
Guys, please wash your hands. I'm telling you.
Like,
Yeah.
honestly, that would be it. And you would have less people die because you'd have a clean hospital.
I have one question about the 1850s. Was there working plumbing of some sort? We just had outhouses, yes?
Yes, but they know how to dig them properly.
Okay. I am not going to stay in an area that doesn't have proper plumbing that constantly smells like poop.
That would be absolutely awful.
Are we concerned with altering of the space-time continuum?
Sure. From the point that you're living there onwards.
Okay, because you get back to 2019, wow, 1 in 2,000 shot. Oh, dang. Everything I did in 1850 has changed everything. Now it's so much better. Wow. Except...
Yeah, what are the chances you make it worse?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, but also at the same time, I would take an altered 2019 to 1850.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
I thought you were going to say to current.
No, not the current. I'm just saying, I don't care what's happened in the history of events. It's same as right now. I would take a 2075 to right now because future is always
Really?
better. So far. Historically, throughout all of mankind, future is always better.
Until the robots take over.
Yes, for sure. There's going to be a point where that's not true. But so far in all of the history of man, the future is always better than 50 years previous.
No, 91 was a good year, you know.
You can only eat one type of sandwich for the rest of your life. What do you pick?
PB&J?
That's the obvious choice.
Yeah.
But
Can we just clarify exactly what a sandwich is? Bread on either side with a filling?
is a
So the
hamburger
question
a
is a
sandwich?
hamburger a sandwich?
100%.
I'm going to say no, a hamburger is not a sandwich in this.
Fair.
Because that would be the clear answer, 100%.
Okay, fair. So we're thinking classic sandwich that you had when you were a kid, like a bagged lunch sandwich.
Yeah, like a sandwich. Like a BLT is a sandwich, peanut butter and jelly is a sandwich, but a hot dog or a hamburger are not a sandwich in
Completely
this scenario.
fair.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think I would miss any sandwich. There's nothing that requires sandwich form to me. Prove me wrong.
Peanut butter and jelly hands are not good.
Okay, but you can put peanut butter on jelly on something else and it'll taste amazing.
Like what?
I don't know, apple.
You can put anything that you would make a sandwich into a wrap, and almost most of the time it's better.
That's true.
Yeah.
The sandwich I would go with 100% is a toasted avocado sandwich. So you take avocado, put a little bit of like paprika or something like that in it, mush it all up, toast, put that in there. Or if you fry that on an oven, I love that.
Okay. When you said fried, I'm going to go grilled cheese.
Grilled cheese is a classic sandwich.
Irreplaceable.
I've never had one, but
Yeah. I'm going to agree with PB&J. I think there's too many options for PB&J. Once again, I'm like Curt, I can't have cheese, but I'm gonna go with PB&J. I don't think I could give up PB&J. I honestly eat once a week.
Strong.
See, I maybe average to once a week. I go through phases where I'll have one for like 2 weeks every day, and then I won't have one for months. But
yeah.
So an interesting sandwich is a club sandwich. Do you know why a club sandwich is called a club sandwich? This is a fact from Jim.
No, I honestly don't.
So a club sandwich is chicken and lettuce under bacon.
No way.
That's why it's called a club sandwich, and that's your interesting fact from Jim for the week.
Wow.
Awesome.
thanks, Jim.
The expression we're going to go with is buttering someone up.
Ooh, it's from cannibalism days.
Oh, okay.
What are cannibalism days?
That was going to be my next question.
That sounds like a terrible themed restaurant.
They were rough times.
Okay. So it was literally just you put butter on someone before you eat them?
Well, yeah, it would be rude to be mean to someone and then eat them. So while you were buttering them up, you would also be like, wow, it looks like you've been working out.
This reminds me of the Seinfeld episode where Kramer was using butter to tan, and then Newman wanted to bite him.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking as soon as you said that of dairy is typically a luxury. So if you were trying to impress a new guest, you wouldn't just put a little butter on their toast. Like, you would put a ton of butter on it. You would just butter them up. Like, here's all the butter because I'm trying to impress my boss or whoever's in my house to show that, like, I'm an upstanding citizen.
I have lots of money. I'm in very good standings.
Not bad.
Yeah, I've upped your butter quotient. I've buttered you up.
Yeah. It was a ration food, for sure. Like, you were limited on your butter in many, many times in history.
Yeah, dairy has always been, like, until, somewhat recently, a prized resource.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you make butter?
You churn it.
Once or
churn it.
twice.
Maybe it involves churning someone in some metaphorical way. That's as far as I've gotten. I need your help here, guys.
So you're saying that you basically... But you're not talking cannibal days.
No, I'm not talking cannibal days.
Okay.
Past cannibal days.
You don't want a side of chuck?
Yeah. Ground chuck?
Ground chuck? But so what you're saying is, like, you take a person... You, like, put them through the ringer, right? But that butters them up because it's kind of like churning them? Something like that?
What I'm saying is, help me think of something that makes sense. I got nothing. I don't know. I like your answer.
Okay, so you're giving them extra butter?
All right. So, obviously, meaning to flatter somebody, an ancient Indian custom involved throwing balls of clarified butter at statues of gods they seek favor of.
I don't think we were going to get that.
I think I was the closest.
Explain how!
Because mine involved buttering a human form. I'm assuming these gods had near human forms.
Yeah.
Either human or animal or a mixture of...
I was going to say India, so isn't it an elephant is like one of their main
Well, yeah, but they've got a lot.
That's one of the more popular
They
ones,
have
I guess.
many gods.
That's true, and they have a lot of cultures and a lot of
Yeah.
religions.
I'm not going to start guessing any of them because I don't know any of them, but I know there's many.
That's fair. I thought you were talking about like some form of cannibal thing, and I'm like, we're going to have to cut this really quick.
Yeah. I like how you went with like giving somebody a lot of butter. You're like, oh yeah, here's butter, here's lobster,
Better
anything that's expensive, I'm just going to give to you because I like you.
Look, if it was a French expression, it would be all about putting extra butter on everything.
Yeah, I put that extra butter in my croissants for you.
Plus du beurre. You're welcome, Chara. That's everything we have for you today. Thanks again for listening to the On Pointless Podcast. If you have any questions to submit, please submit them to onpointlesspodcast@gmail.com, and we'll steal them from you and take credit for them ourselves.
Submit.
Please submit.
Follow us on Twitter.
I'm running dry here. Oh yeah, follow us on Twitter, because, right now I've got like 25 followers, and that's probably not enough. Depressing. Bye!
See ya!
Adios.
Yep.